No, it smelled really, really good. I was a fan whenever they opened. Are we on? We're talking about smells.
What's your favorite scent? What's your favorite smell?
Oh,
favorite
my
smell
favorite
of all time.
Oh, the lotion in our bathroom. No, my I got to think about that for a second.
Do you have a favorite?
I don't have like a set scent. Like I'm not like sandalwood, you know what I mean? But I normally air towards like muskier, outdoorsy smells. Like I like a lot of the things that I like are very like earthy.
Earth tones.
Yeah.
Does your house smell like the earth? Are you one of those people?
No.
I was gonna say when you walk by me, you don't smell like the earth.
No. It's,
so, you know when somebody walks by you, they smell like the earth, and
I
you're
think
like,
that's just called patchouli.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. There's this very specific scent called patchouli. I don't know what it is.
I'm like, you smell like you've been burning incense and walked over here. That's what I think every time.
Yeah. Patchouli is what you're thinking of, but I don't know what it is. I'm not a big patchouli fan, but like, so I get like the wax melts.
Patchouli.
That's pistachios.
You smell like a patchouli.
You know those wax melts?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So one of my like all-time favorite scents from there is fresh cut grass.
Oh.
Or it's called Flower Shop.
Yeah.
And it just smells green.
Yeah.
Like it just smells, I don't know how else to explain it. It smells like
Do you do the candle waxing? Do you warmer? Are you a warmer?
So
how do you feel about patchouli?
I love scents. So Josh always tells me that I'm like a hound dog because I can smell like
Bethany's
my
like that.
sense of smell.
She's
is
Doberman Pinscher.
Wild,
100%.
And so I like different scents.
Okay.
So in my head, I am a scent person all of the time, but I don't change them out as much as
there's a name for that.
Often need.
I'm a scent person.
I am a scent person. And so, like, I love smells, like soap. In fact, funny story. So, long ago, Josh and I, we went to Nicaragua.
Galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. So, we went to Nicaragua on a mission trip. Have you heard this story?
Carry on.
Have you heard this story?
It's the funniest word ever.
Nicaragua.
Over there, they smell like a patchouli. Sorry.
So, it was like our last day of service. And...
Last day of service. This is it. That's all you get from me.
This is it. So we did like a foot washing ceremony for all of the village people.
With patchouli.
Not with patchouli. So we, like all of the women, you know, are sitting in the chairs and we're like washing their feet. And I didn't realize what I was doing at the time.
Oh, no.
But I loved the smell of soap.
Okay.
I love the smell of soap. Like,
please tell me you didn't wash people's feet and then smell it. You did. You did it.
In between, and like I didn't it's because all I could smell was like this
you wash somebody's foot and then put your hands to your kid.
Like I didn't realize, and I was like, why are they laughing?
Oh no.
And so like the Easter Sunday service that we do here, I don't know if I can ever participate because I will be in the corner just busting out laughing.
That's not okay.
Yeah, I mean, like
that poor lady that you were washing her feet. She's like, what?
She's got a weird foot thing.
Please do not do that. Please no.
Everybody was joking like I'm gonna go home with like an extra mole on my face.
Yeah, a growth.
I did it.
Is that a corn on your face?
Listen, I was young and I didn't realize like what I was actually doing.
Be like, hey Betty, your feet smell amazing, Betty. Oh my
So
goodness.
just for the record, I don't have a foot thing. I just have a soap thing.
You might have a foot thing. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
No.
Right now.
No. No. So, anyways, I like more like natural.
I'm happy for you.
Scents. Is this your favorite smell?
Tobacco and vanilla, hands down.
Yeah.
Gianna is a Scentsy person.
Is she?
I said Scentsy, but that's like a company.
Yeah.
She's not like a Scentsy person. She loves it. She has a warmer in her room. Like, loves that.
How often does she change it? Because you're supposed to change them like every like 3 days.
Okay.
Mine's like every like 3 weeks.
Yeah, she didn't realize like
Maybe
they run
months.
out of scent.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
she's like, no, it's or maybe it was Bethany who said that. They're like, or no, she said it. She said when the wax is gone, the scent is gone. And I'm like,
No, the wax.
no, the wax will save forever. So she didn't understand that or whatever.
Oh.
But her teacher, what do you call it? Melts, burns. I don't know what
Melts,
yeah. So she has like a certain scent. So I went to Walmart the other day because that's where it came from. Walmart has like this huge scent aisle. It's crazy.
They do, but they burn on the warmers.
Oh, okay, whatever. So anyway, the one scent that she wanted.
It's sold out.
100%.
It's probably her. She probably stocks up.
Probably. Like, I mean, and you know how Walmart is, like, the aisles are like 20 feet deep.
Yes.
It's like, they have scents like for days, and then like this one is completely gone. So
maybe that's like everybody's favorite.
It is. It's got to be. It's like citrus and
sunshine,
something
citrus
like that.
Sunshine.
She texted me the other day what it was. I don't know what it was though. Anyway.
Yeah. I like them, but I don't change them as often as I should.
I don't know what the actual like because some people like they turn them on for an hour, and then some people like
Mine
they
are
keep
on
them
all
on.
the time.
Oh, you keep them on all day.
Mine are on all day long because like I'm not gonna like make that an extra line item in my daily tasks to make sure that I turn off my warmer.
That's why your plants die. You know that, right? Because you don't you don't put a thing on your thing to water.
Hey, my friend gave me 2 plants, so I've got 2 plants.
Did you name them?
Still alive.
Did you name your plants?
I can't get that connected yet.
No.
Like, I won't allow
because you'll kill them.
myself.
So, if like, how long do they have to be alive before you're like, I'm naming this?
I need to see like a new growth on them.
Oh, some sort of like progress.
Yeah, like something. She has like full faith in me. I'm like, girl, you are trusting. She gave me a cutting, and I was like,
oh no,
what? Huh?
No.
She was like, yeah, just leave this in water, and it's just gonna be in the water for like 7 to 8 months. It's gonna grow crazy roots.
7 to 8 months.
And then she's like, and then you'll just come over and we'll plant it. And I was like, honey, that's a long time. That's a long time. And so now I look at this cutting that is sitting on my lamp or on my like.
That's just gonna be there for the next half a year.
But like we're moving, and so I'm like, I'm gonna lose it.
The odds of that thing dying are high.
And I'm like, I'm looking at the roots, and I'm like, okay, so I haven't seen anything new. Should I see something new? Am I supposed to put it like nice normal tap water in there? Do I need bottled water?
Just throw it out the window right now.
I overthink like crazy with plants. This is why I don't have plants, because the other one I was like, you haven't had sun in a while, so I put it on a windowsill in a different room.
Oh my goodness!
Too much. I do too much.
How do you feel today? Would you like more water?
Like this morning, as I was like reading the Bible, I was like holding the plant and like brushing the dust off of it and like feeling the leaves.
Don't do that. Just leave it go. Leave it alone.
I know. I don't know why. Because it's a living
You're like
entity.
a little kid. You gotta play with it.
I am.
You're like, I'm gonna play with you.
Like, just grow, please. So I haven't named it. I will name it. I had a name.
It just has to have progress.
It just has to show that like I'm not killing it.
Oh my goodness.
So I cleaned off all of its little orange leaves and plucked those off because those were dead. They're crunchy.
Hey, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I mean,
it was yesterday.
It was. So if you guys know Kim's birthday, you know when we record.
Yeah.
That's how that goes.
It was my birthday.
Celebrated with some fun times.
So much adulting yesterday, like
until last night.
Yeah,
then
like it was the most adulthood birthday ever. Like I sat in a meeting from 10 to 2:30. So I was in a meeting from that long, and I had to drive there, and it was like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And so then we got back, and then
you
Miles
spent 3 hours in the car for your birthday.
Yeah.
Sad day.
Well, I mean, it's fine. Like I'm fine in the car.
Still.
So anyways, so then Miles had soccer practice. There was church last night so like it was just like and then because we're moving, I'm like in cleaning and painting mode because we rent our house right now, and we were going to buy the house, so I started painting the house without the permission of the landlord.
Oh man.
And so now we have to put the paint back to the original color. And so I have that, and then it's like 6 years that we have lived in this house.
Yeah.
So like 6 years of hard childhood growth has happened because Miles was like 3 when we moved in, and Owen was 1.
There's holes in places that weren't holes.
And there's like the baseball, just everything. Like
you should just go. Just be like, here, take my deposit. See you later.
I want to. One part of me wants to so badly.
Yeah.
And then the other part of me is like, no, I've known them, the landlords.
You leave it better than you found
it. I can't do that.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know how people do that.
Yeah.
That could be a Grease and Grace in and of itself.
Yeah.
It's just, but like, I don't know how people can just like walk away with their house trashed. Like, care for it. And
and they're going to make modifications anyway when you leave. But hey, if you left it better than you found it, it says something about you.
Yeah, like it just, I can't do that. And so I spent in Jordan, the boys' bathroom.
Oh no.
Spent 3.5 hours cleaning it. It smelled like a boys' locker room.
Oh, I bet.
After, because I have like a steam thing. I don't know what you call it.
Steamer.
Yeah. And so like I'm like shooting old crusty pee. All like it was so gross. Smelled so bad. So now I'm like, if I see anybody in this bathroom, I am cutting a toe off. Like, do not go in that bathroom.
You're
and the boys
done.
know. Like, I'm like, you better not touch this bathroom.
It's clean.
Like,
I will put the steamer
done.
on you.
Door is closed. I even thought about taping it.
Oh my goodness.
Because I'm like, I'm not cleaning this again.
So when do you take ownership of a new house?
Very soon. I don't have a straight answer.
Like within the next 2 weeks?
Within the next like week.
Oh wow.
Maybe even less than that. Like,
so will you be out of the
maybe weekend.
Out of the current house in like a week or no?
I don't know.
Just depends.
So the problem is like this has turned into like our busiest season of our entire lives.
Yeah.
And so
it always is.
Yeah. And so like the weekends are really busy right now. The weeks are they're not busy, but it's just like it's the week. Like your normal flow. So just trying to figure that out. My hope is that we close like in
soon.
24 hours so that we can at least move things,
take ownership,
move some,
get some boxes over,
so that
like
I can start cleaning, because we can't clean
with stuff
with people living there.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I can't clean the way that I want to clean.
Yeah.
And so it's like all contingent on this like closing. And I asked the realtor yesterday and he was like, well, it's moving pretty fast. And I was like, just tell me a closing date.
You know what? Jesus has been coming back again soon too. So like, how about
like,
get,
me. And I'm somebody who like, just give me a yes or no. Like, yes, we are closing.
Yeah.
Or no, it's not happening for at least, like
house closings and like car closings or buying a car are very similar. Like the process should be relatively quick, but it's not, because there's so much financing and things like that that take place.
And like so many other people's timelines that we're waiting on. And so like I've been really patient. I mean, realistically, the timeline of us buying this house has been like a week.
Right.
Like
which is crazy fast, par for the course. Like that's not par for the course at all.
Yeah. Like it was like we went and saw it, I think last weekend.
Yeah.
And was like, okay, we're going to buy this. And now like.
Which in today's society you have to be like. Because if you don't jump on something, like it's
So it's just been like a super wild process. I'm just like, can we please start moving? Can we please start moving so I need to clean this house and I need to paint this house.
Hey, at least you're not pregnant and nesting.
Oh,
like that would be horrible.
I'm good with my two boys
who have a dirty bathroom.
A very dirty bathroom. Hey, how are you this week?
So all that to say, welcome to Grace and Grace. Yeah.
Hi.
What's up, everybody?
How far are we in right
It's
now?
all good. It's all good. Yeah, you're listening to the one and only. So glad that you guys are here. Thanks for listening.
We appreciate your time.
We do appreciate your time. It's fantastic. Anyway, if you're new here, well, welcome. So that's like number one. We've been doing this for a while. We're creeping up on a year.
Creeping on a year,
which is crazy. So what we do here at Grease and Grace is we take a topic, we break it down, we look at it from two sides: the greasy side of things and the graceful side of things. Greasy side of things, we talk about like the nitty gritty, challenges, controversies, stuff that makes us say like, that's kind of a mess, or just absolutely frustrating to us and drives us crazy. Full transparency, we usually spend more time on that than the grace side of things.
Yeah.
There's
lots of frustrations in life.
Yeah. So the graceful side of things is, where we try to find some hope and inspiration in ways we can rise above the mess. But full transparency, that whole passage of scripture that says do all things without grumbling and complaining was not talking about the Grease and Grace podcast.
That's very true. That's very true.
So Kim usually picks a topic, and then I give you kind of a little bit of a description on that topic, and then we break it down. So Kim, this week we are talking about.
Before I even say that, it's weird to like not see the buffalo.
Oh,
so Jordan had a giant buffalo head in the office.
He's going back to my home gym.
It's like a missing. I know you have the coming soon.
Yeah,
but it is like
Tatanka,
I'm used to seeing it.
Yeah, it definitely opens up. So Kim and I, we record in my office, which looks like a modern day barbershop, because it has nostalgia all over the walls.
Absolutely.
I love the barbershop. Let me tell you what, if I was not in the ministry, I would be a barber.
Once upon a time, you said you were going to get barber chairs.
I would love to get barber chairs.
But where would you put it? In here?
Well, if my office was a little bit bigger, yes. But if I had like a traditional office with like a desk that actually like people came in, I would have like the two chairs be barber chairs. Yeah, it'd be so cool.
Fun.
But anyway. Yeah, Tatanka, he's gone. He went back to the home gym to get swole. and so I got a picture coming in. But it will be
It's exciting.
soon.
Coming soon.
It does feel.
Anyways,
it does feel very a little
like
bigger.
It's
in
brighter.
Here. Yeah, because you're getting all the
light,
window stuff.
All the light. Anyways, so what we are talking about today, I don't know how to like.
Just say it. Rip the Band-Aid right off.
Cell phones.
Oh.
Like the use of cell phones, the growth of cell phone culture. Is that a thing? Cell phone culture?
Cell phone culture?
Yeah, like I don't know what to call it.
You know what I think is really funny before I define it is it's not a phone anymore.
It's a mini computer.
But we do not know how to term it anything else because it's always been a phone. So because it makes phone calls and you're able to talk to somebody, you instantaneously call a phone. That's weird to me. Like, hey, I got to get my phone. When's the last time you called somebody on your phone? Go right now. Pick up your phone. What's the last? Not the person. What's the last phone call you made?
What's the last?
You don't have to say the date. Just like
time?
How many days ago? How long ago?
Okay. Here's the thing, though. This is we're getting into it because you and I grew up in a time before.
We do. We know both. So with that said, just real quick, 3 sentences, probably a little bit more, but there is a generation that exists. This is really crazy. There's a generation that exists that has lived in both the time before technology that we know today has existed and after. And so we live in a gap where we understand both of those.
Yes.
We understand what it's like to have no opportunity to call anybody or anything like that. You have to
memorize phone numbers.
Right. And but we also know what it's like to have a phone in our pocket because we were in that really weird spot. Usually it's high school or college is where that sweet spot is.
So I call still.
Okay. Last phone call you
made. My last phone call I made was 10:56 this morning.
Oh, wow.
I'm a phone caller, though.
How many phone calls did you make just today?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow.
4 thus far. 1, 2, 3, 4 yesterday. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, wait, no. So, yeah, I'm a regular phone caller. I would much rather phone call somebody.
3 calls yesterday. Then the day before that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But 4 of those I didn't pick up because they were spam.
Oh, but those were calls to you.
Yeah.
Oh, I had...
Oh, you're talking. So there's more if you made the calls too, is what you're saying.
I make phone calls.
Yeah, you don't have to count them up, but it's crazy to me that But okay, go back though. Let's say you lived 10 years ago, you would have made so many more phone calls than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe a little bit longer.
So I'm a phone caller, which for the most part, I almost
I'm a
called
candle warming phone call.
I almost called 2 other people today.
Really?
But instead, I voice messaged because so I don't know, that's a weird gray area because I voice message people too because I don't want to necessarily call them.
That makes sense.
But I don't want to just text because the text would be too long. So then I voice.
I understand that. Do you use voice to text a lot too though? Do you use that?
Yeah.
I use that all the time.
Yeah.
You're an Android user though.
I am.
Yeah.
I know.
I feel like the iPhone users go more to talk to text a lot.
Yeah, I use talk to text mostly in my car.
Yeah. Okay, so get this. A mobile phone or a cell phone. This is fascinating because you have to define it. Is a portable telephone that allows users to make and receive calls over a radio frequency link while moving within a designated telephone service area, unlike fixed location phones. When's the last time you saw a landline?
Actually, so the house that we're moving into
has one?
Oh, and I was we can't, Miles and Owen were like, what is this? And I was like, this is a phone, guys. And I was like, how do I keep this in the house?
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
But it's in a wall. But no, before that, I don't know.
Right? Even a phone booth. I'm walking through
phone booth.
I'm walking through an old show. I won't say it, but it's an old show, and in that show, there's no cell phones or anything like that.
Yeah.
And people are like, I have to go make a call, So they're like at a restaurant and they go to the wall where the phone is.
Yes.
And make a call. I'm like, this is wild.
Yeah. So when I pick up the boys at school, you'll know where I'm talking about. So I have to go to the cafeteria to pick up the boys from school.
Yeah.
But in between there's the gym if you were to turn left.
Yep.
Which is where that's where you would go. That wall has a phone.
Oh, yeah.
In it. They still have the phone.
Oh, yeah, it's still there. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Distinctly remember like standing in line because we had to make phone calls to our parents to like come and pick us up.
Oh, yeah.
I remember one time like for a Valentine's Day dance, my boyfriend was sick. My quote unquote boyfriend was sick. Like not really a boyfriend. I don't like
my significant other who I liked and sometimes held hands with.
He was sick. That day at school, so he couldn't go to the Valentine's Day dance. And I remember like sitting on the phone, like that big white chunky phone, and being like, "Can't you just come to the Valentine's Day dance?" A little middle schooler, like. But I remember like standing in line waiting.
Yeah,
Do you remember doing?
Oh, not just like that. Like I mean, I remember. So this is a wild memory, but I remember like when my parents like were late.
Yeah,
I instantly thought like they abandoned me. Because you can't call them. You can't, like, you're stuck.
There's nowhere to get hold of them.
I mean, it was like winter one time, and I was at like some school activity, and I will never forget this. The coach left, the players left, like the whole 9 yards.
Terrifying.
And it's just me.
Oh, that's, yeah.
And I'm like,
scary.
it's getting dark, it's winter time, and I'm going, I don't have a dad anymore. Like, he's gone. You know, he comes and picks me up. I'm crying my eyes out. He's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I didn't think you were coming.
And then he left me.
Yeah. And he's like, why don't you call me? I'm like, with what phone?
They didn't have like a
No, because everybody left.
A payphone.
Everybody left,
None
and it
of
was
that.
like I'm standing in between the two doors. You know what I mean? Like, where
no.
yeah.
Oh no.
That's the worst,
yeah,
man.
That's a scary.
Yeah, you're like, they abandoned me. It's over.
Do you remember collect calls? Like having to make collect calls?
Oh, I remember not just collect calls. I remember when text messages were costs.
Oh,
like
yeah.
remember that? Like,
so I had moved my sophomore year. So sophomore year, this makes us sound so old. Like I don't feel old.
we're
but,
not.
Like,
it's not that long ago.
It's not that long ago. I don't
no.
think that people like the younger generation realizes that like.
Yeah.
The technology
what
has
streaming services
soared.
are doing right now for like customers, like making them pay for everything is exactly what cell phones used to do with text messages and calls.
Yeah. So I remember I moved my sophomore year. I had a phone, but I had to pay for my phone.
Yep.
And I had nobody. We moved states away. So
Flip phone or a regular one, like a Nokia?
It was a Nokia.
Nice.
It was a Nokia. And so it was a pay-as-you-go phone. So I didn't have a job. And I remember like being devastated because I was charged any time that I called before 8 p.m.
At times. They had peak times. Like,
yeah.
You were calling people like, you were waiting till 7 o'clock and being like, all right, I'm calling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were like certain times it was more expensive to call.
Yep.
Long distance.
Long distance was huge.
And so I remember like.
If you got to dial a 1, don't do it.
Yeah. And so like I remember like having to do that and being like devastated because I didn't have a way to get a hold of my friends.
Yeah.
And this was before social media. Like our phones was our social media.
Yeah.
And so like.
Did you ever like plot with your friends to get walkie-talkies?
What?
Oh, we did a couple of times because phones weren't even around. So like, I remember when I was really little, me and a couple of guys in the neighborhood, we were like, this year for Christmas, we're all going to ask for walkie-talkies. And then we'll just keep them on all the time and we'll talk to each other.
You know what though? I do remember doing that in 8th grade.
A lot of people did it.
Yeah. I remember doing that in 8th grade. We all had walkie-talkies because we went to the Cedar Point trip.
Yep.
And so we went to Cedar Point so that we could like, where are you guys at? And like, we would walkie-talkie. But then like the lines would like cross. And so you'd get like random people in the middle. And I remember like people would be trying to listen to like semi-truck drive.
Yeah, it's so good. I had a CB in my car. 100%.
What?
Yeah, 100%. I had a CB. Actually, I still want to bring it back. They still have them. Truck drivers still talk like that.
My dad uses one. He's got one.
Oh, yeah, he does have one.
Because he drives trucks.
Yeah. Like, there's so many times where I'm like, I mean, like, if I'm on a commute or something, I'm like, man, if I had a CB right now, I would be like.
Nice. It'd be nice. What would be your nickname? Muckster the Truckster.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so anyway,
Oh, man.
the radio frequency link connects to the switching systems of a mobile phone operator providing access to public switch telephone network. It's called a PSTN. Modern mobile telephony, that's a thing, relies on a cellular network architecture, which is why mobile phones are often referred to as cell phones in North America.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Look
they,
at that.
yeah. Beyond traditional voice communication, digital mobile phones have evolved to support a wide range of additional services: text messages, multimedia messages, email, internet access, Bluetooth, ultra wideband, stuff like that. So you can have multimedia capabilities, cameras now, video recording, and people play games on them all the time.
Which, why is the cell phone's top feature the camera?
I think,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's hard.
A strange thing, because when you
that's the
see,
selling point now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the selling point. It's not like clearer talking between you and your friends,
or like faster text messaging, or
like,
whatever the case is.
It's the camera. It's like, it literally is all in the camera, and it's like.
Do you think it's just it's buying into the people who used to carry cameras? Because you remember like digital cameras, right? Like you used to carry
Did you know those are coming back?
Polaroid cameras never left.
Yeah, no.
Like those have been around. Digital cameras I could see coming back.
They're because like now like teenagers want like the graininess of digital photos.
Okay.
They want to like take pictures.
There's filters for that.
I know, it's bizarre. I just went bowling like 3 weeks ago, and there was a like group of teenagers like right next to us, and like I am somebody who I like to observe people like in general, and so like I watch and just kind of like
humans out in the wild.
Yeah, I like to see them out in the wild doing their thing.
What did Kramer say from Sound? He goes, "I too like to help the humans sometimes." It's one of my favorite quotes ever.
Yeah, so like I was just like watching them, and like they, not in a creepy way, by the way. If I'm like looking at it, I'm not like, "Hey, this kid's looking real fine today." But anyways, like they had their phones. The kids were like on their phones. But then to take a picture, got a digital.
Get out of here!
I'm dead serious.
I slap it out of their hand.
I
throw
was
it
like,
down the bowling alley.
What am I looking at right now? Like, what is this? You have phones. So I was talking to somebody about it. Like, I was talking to one of the youths. One of the youths who likes me.
You're like, hey,
and
what's this
and I
about?
was like, tell me about this. And she was like, yeah, it's because like we want the graininess photos, and like they want like the kind of like the blur, because old digital cameras like didn't have a fast enough shutter speed, so there would be like blurs.
Okay,
and
so
stuff
you
like
know
that.
as well as I know how much I love my typewriter. Like, I'm a big fan, right?
Yeah.
A typewriter is a whole different experience.
How's that going, by the way?
Oh, I love my typewriter.
It's not in here.
It's at home. I use it at least once a week.
Wow.
Like, handwritten notes are amazing.
I love that.
But
I didn't get one for my birthday. Muck.
Oh, I should have.
Come on.
It's still time.
That's all right.
So, like, there's just something else. Like, there's something about it where you can see it. It looks different, things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that would be like the whole argument in that regard. But here's the thing. I think sometimes the youth of our current culture just do things because it's cool.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, it's not cool. Like, you're going to learn that later down the road, that what you're doing is like completely ridiculous.
It's dumb. Mm-hmm.
And a typewriter is a whole different animal to me, but I'm not here to like argue like that type of thing.
I don't know. So digital cameras are like a thing again.
It is wild to me though. You know what else is wild to me? Yeah. When you talk to somebody about like being on the phone, we still use the hang loose thing.
Some people do.
They do the brick.
Yes. There's a generation. I watched something about this. Kids don't know what that is.
Like the put it up to your face. Like you take the hang loose thing and you put it up to your. If you don't know what hang loose is, it's when your pinky and your thumb are out, and then you like make the phone, and then you put it up to your face. Yeah. Like, oh, I was talking on the phone the other day.
Yeah.
But
if you did this to like your daughters, I don't know if they would know what it means.
No, they still use it. They actually do it. Yeah. They do the same thing. But it's not, to me. It's kind of like when. For those of you out there who like are frequent church, or whatever, it's like when we say worship, we and in the church world, it automatically goes back to music. When it's not, it's not. Like worship is so much more than music. Mm-hmm. So what's wild to me is like the phone has gotten to there. It's like, oh, my phone, but it's not. It's not a phone. It's so much more than that. Yeah. So, that's frustrating to me. That is weird about the camera thing, though. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
The feature. that they have.
That's what they're selling you on.
You know what else drives
Takes 4K
me
video.
crazy? So I'm an Android user. We're room divided right now. I know. But like, why does everybody get mad at me for that?
I don't care.
I love my Android.
If it works, use it.
I tried iPhone and I hated the 2 years that I had it.
Really? How come? What was some of the biggest beefs?
Because, okay, so I grew up on Microsoft. Like,
okay. That's fair.
PlayStation, I think, is Microsoft. We had PlayStation. Like, all of the functions of
Windows
Microsoft.
XP.
Yeah, all of the functions of Microsoft I grew up using. I never transitioned over when Apple got their computers, even though I really wanted one because I really liked the colors on the back of the desktop. But I didn't actually get one.
I ain't mad. I just really wanted a pink.
I want a purple, thanks. Or orange. Yeah. I liked the orange ones.
Oh, those are legit. They should bring those back anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, so I like never Appled ever.
Okay.
And then,
which would make sense that you're still on Android then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had like a brief lapse in judgment where like everybody was like, just get an iPhone because it was like my 2 years of owning.
Those people, by the way, are the same people who are like, you should have kids because they don't like having kids and they want somebody to be miserable with them to have kids. Like, so they don't care about you. They're just like, hey, are you going to have kids soon so we both can be miserable together?
Yeah,
that's what those people are.
Everybody was like, get an iPhone, get an iPhone, get an iPhone. It's the best thing. I love it. It's the best thing. You're going to absolutely love it. No.
You hated it.
I hated it.
Top 2 beefs with it.
It doesn't have a back button.
Oh.
So mine, if I were to go on to like, okay, so I'm going to go.
People would argue there's a home button or like you just swipe out of it.
Okay, so mine doesn't anymore, but it used to at the bottom, I would have like my little home screen right here.
There's like the 3 little buttons or whatever.
There was the 3 little buttons and then there was like a back button. So now I can swipe back, but iPhone, I don't think I can swipe back. Like there's no way to swipe back.
Backwards.
So if I'm on a website and I need to go back, all I need to do is swipe like that. And it's really handy. I don't think iPhones can do that because I try to do that on my mom's all of the time. And I can't, like, if I just need to go back one screen.
There is, it depends on your browser, but there is like a back button now on the bottom corner.
Oh. So yeah. That was my first beef. And then the second beef was that I wasn't able to customize it as much. Like I couldn't do.
Yeah, that's fair. And that has changed a little bit with the iPhones, but now but Android, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now like, I don't care as much, but like when I had the iPhone, I was like, why can't I change this?
That frustrates me with my apps sometimes because I want to name them whatever I want to name them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to call this like Canada. I can't do it. It gets so bad frustrated. I'm like, I don't care if it's called Facebook. I want to call it Canada. They won't let you do it.
Yeah, well.
It's kind of like communism. They're like, oh, you like doing stuff? No.
Who owns Apple?
Well, Steve Jobs is dead, so I don't know who it is now.
Well, we'll just still say Jobs.
Okay.
Come on, Jobs. Let us name Facebook Canada. Come on.
What else is your okay? So your major beefs with cell phones though.
That's in general.
Apple.
In general, my major beef with cell phones is that like everybody is on them all
the time.
The flipping time.
Yep.
Oh, it drives me crazy. Say, as somebody who is on it all of the time, it has become a resource.
Do you use screen time at all?
What?
Or downtime? Does Android have downtime?
What does that mean?
So I just learned this the other day. I was this full transparency here. Somebody was like, "How much time do you spend on your phone?" And I was like, "I don't know. What are you talking about?" And they're like, "You can find out if you go to screen time if you're an iPhone user, you can find out how much that you're on your devices, and not just your phone, all of your devices.
The apps,
all your devices."
Oh,
so like if you're signed in,
right.
So if you're signed into like your computer and your phone and iPad and whatever, it will tell you
tricky.
Like yeah. So saw that number and instantly thought, I'm wasting my life.
Yeah. So yes, Android does.
Can you do that
as well? Yeah. So last year, like it's been like a moment where I'm like, Kim, you don't need social media.
100%.
And so I have lessened my screen time. I can lessen the amount of time that I'm on you
can
website.
You can limit your time. Yeah.
But like a specific website, not just like the app, but like a specific.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and so like I have like a 5-minute timer for Facebook because I'm like, nothing good comes from
Amen.
Facebook.
Yeah.
I've been on it a little bit more because I'm trying to sell things. Everybody please buy my things because I don't want to move.
I love it that we're like, nothing good's on Facebook. At the end of this podcast, we're going to be like, check us out on Facebook.
Just like, there's so many like opinion, like there's just, it's so much. And so I have like 5 minutes of just like scroll time. That's normally like my morning after I've read my Bible and read the news and like I'm just waking up and like letting the sound of my children fighting like soak into my pores. So that's like my morning scroll time. And then Instagram I have, I think, for 30 minutes because that's
you're on there a little bit more, and the food thing.
Yeah, so sometimes there has to be an exception, maybe because I'm looking for like recipes.
That's fair.
But also, that's how one of me and my friends talks is through like Instagram Direct, and so like
which a lot of people message now.
Yeah,
Instagram messages are huge.
Yeah, and so that's the main way that her and I talk, and so like I leave that on a little bit longer, but then that's that. I've deleted TikTok. I don't have TikTok.
Well, screen time is fantastic. So I put screen time on. I have downtime now. Here's the crazy thing, and I think I was under this for so long, and this is going to sound super prideful. I don't mean it to be, but I think when you have a phone or access to a phone, you think you're more important than you really truly are. Oh, like people are going to text me or people are going to email me. I think you'd be super surprised how little people do need to contact you.
That's an emergency.
Yeah, that's like definitely needed. Like, so like I have downtime now. Like it goes down. I'm not gonna say what time because then people be like, wow. But like, so my phone, like, unless I make a calculated movement to access that, and let me tell you what, it's super hard because you have the fear of missing out. Like that FOMO thing is super real.
Well, and it's like an addiction of like just having that thing.
Yeah,
like having that connection.
Well, like how many times do people, okay, so for example, like this just happened this morning with my class. Like I watch students, so I've been doing this thing, this is super funny. So instead of like being on my computer, I go in, I set up my class, and then I pour my cup of coffee and I sit there and watch them. Like it's and they just like stare at me.
What was the first time, like when you started doing that, where they like, oh,
yeah, they're like, Prof. Muck, you okay? Like what's going on here? What's really funny is if you look at somebody, okay, like I make eye contact with them.
Yeah.
The first motion is to their phone. It's a security
really?
blanket. Oh, yeah. It's super. Or if they don't know what to do, they'll just like instant change to go to my phone. There's probably maybe 2 out of, I would say, every 30 students who don't go rush into their phone. Like they'll just look back at you. Like, you okay? And those students I love because I'm like, what are you thinking about right now? They're like, I was thinking about what you were thinking about.
Well, if your eyes are giant like the way they are, I too would be like, I gotta find something else. This guy's got a wild look in his eye right now.
But it's amazing. You go to a restaurant, go out anywhere. We're at, so my youngest plays basketball.
Yeah.
So your kids play soccer,
yep.
right?
Yep.
Watch how many people
are on their phones.
Or even a remote time of like, I have a minute, like, okay, the quarter's up or whatever the case is. What do? We check our phones.
Yes.
Immediate check. You are not that popular.
Yeah.
You are not that famous. People do not need you.
And you don't need to know about people that much.
Oh, my word.
It goes both ways. So I'm somebody who, like, when I go to the airport, I normally don't have my phone out because I am busy like looking at everybody else. I'm a people watcher. That's just how I am.
Occasionally, you like to help the humans.
Like occasionally. But like I can go places and leave my phone at home because like there is nothing.
Yeah.
That is going to be that pressing.
But it's amazing how many. And okay, I'm a recovering alcoholic here. Like, like not drinking. I didn't know what other word to use, but like addict. Okay. Like I'm a recovering addict here because there are times where I do that. I look around at like basketball game, for example, the quarter's over and I watch like how many people just like instantly go to their pocket. Gotta check my phone, gotta check my social media, gotta check my email.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for what?
Yeah. Just exist.
Like, for what?
Yeah.
There's nothing going on in that phone that, like, you cannot, like, that needs your attention right now.
It's frustrating because it's taking away from actual life.
Yeah.
Like, it's taking away from, like, being able to, like, hey, how are you doing? Like, hey, do you remember that test that was going on? How did your daughter do on it?
Yeah.
You know? Like, those, like, not important conversations, but important connections.
Yeah.
So many people think that they're connected via their social media, when in reality, they are not connected at all.
Nope.
because they're too busy like tuning everything out, which was super interesting because I just was listening to a podcast. So interestingly enough, and this will be another topic like long down the road, but I love the study of conversation.
Okay.
Like it has been.
Well, it's good because we do it once a week.
We do. We do. But like, what makes a good conversationalist?
Yep.
How to become a better conversationalist? Like all of these different things. And so on Spotify, I think it was a podcast that popped up on just the art of small talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's super hard to do.
It is really, really
especially
hard
in our
to do.
society. Yeah.
It's hard to do if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned. If you just let it flow, it's not as
Be
hard
yourself.
as what you think.
Yeah.
Because Josh tells me all the time that I'm a good small talker, and I'm like, no, I'm not. And he's like, you actually are. And I'm like, but I don't think about it. Like, I might think about it beforehand, but then like as the
when you're in the thick of it, it's just second nature.
Yes, but they were talking about how like the art of small talk is being lost because nobody knows how to do it because they're too busy.
Oh, I get that.
Phones.
So like last night, my oldest daughter, wanted a ride to a basketball game.
Sorry, there's a hair or something.
You're right. Get it. So it's probably from the buffalo.
It's shedding.
so we're like, all of our friends play.
Yeah.
So I'm like, call your friend's mom and ask her for a ride. And she's like, I'll just text her. And I'm like, I want you to call her.
Just call.
And she's like, all right, I'll call her. Most painful thing I've heard in my whole entire life.
Phone etiquette is like not a thing.
Oh, like I was like, you're using your phone for what it's intended for right now.
Yeah.
And you're failing like royally. And so like her friend's mom texts Bethany after it was over and she's like, that was the funniest thing ever. Like absolutely hilarious, you know? But we were teaching her through it. We're like, say hello. She's like, she knows who I am. Say hello.
Say hi. Yes, I try so hard to teach the boys.
Yeah.
To like, if we're on the phone, say hello.
Just say hi.
How are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
she was like, why would I say, how are you doing? Because it's cordial.
It's nice.
Like, that's just what you do. And she's like, hey, can you give me a ride to the school tonight? I'm like, cut straight to what you want.
Why?
Hey, you selfish, prideful person, you know, like, it's like, no, you got to build people. You got to work into it, you know?
Yeah, there's so much like conversation learned through talking on the phone.
Oh, it's
like,
so
there's
true.
so many lessons
It's
that
so
need to
true.
be learned through talking on the phone.
There's a book I'm reading right now. Highly recommend it. It's by a guy named Morgan Housel. It's called Same as Ever, A Guide to What Never Changes. This guy is just,
Ooh, that sounds like a really interesting book.
It's a New York Times bestseller. Basically, he talks about like the things that never change, right?
Yeah.
Like so, and he talks about like catastrophes and how like those are consistent and things like that. But he goes into this a little bit about like small talk conversation, like and how it's just amazing. You know, people have kind of lost that ability to communicate, you know, between each other. And it's really funny. Like you kind of bring it up too, but if you sit next to somebody, it's amazing how fast a cell phone will come out.
Yeah.
Because you're like, hey, do you need your blankie? Like, I mean, like, what is happening? Am I that like? There's sometimes where I'll be sitting next to somebody, they'll pull their phone out. I just want to like slap it out of their hand, and be like, "Hey, me, you look at me.
Let's chat. We need to chat. We don't need to, but we need to
do it.
Yeah, but even the fact that there's always a connection to the phone because if their phone isn't out, their headphone isn't.
Oh, okay. And if you're talking to me with an earbud in,
me crazy.
Take it out.
Yeah.
Take it out right now.
In fact, Josh and I just had this conversation. Josh is my husband. He learned how much he enjoys reading via
audio
books.
Yeah.
Loves it. So he has always got his headphones.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And last weekend, like he also gets really frustrated because the boys like are constantly like, "Mom, can you do this? Mom, can you do this?" And so he was walking through the house and I had said something and he paused, like looked me in the eye, paused his thing. And I was like,
no.
We're going to get into this, aren't we? And I was like, listen, I understand that you enjoy listening to your books, but you cannot walk around this household with them headphones on.
Bethany has that rule. So if you're on the main floor, of our house, no headphones, and the girls aren't allowed to have their phones or headphones on upstairs. So really, the only place that you're allowed is downstairs, and that's only if somebody else is next to you. But Bethany will rip those things out of your ears so fast.
She
hates it.
The amount of time that he's had them on, and he's like, I'm not listening to anything loud.
Doesn't matter.
Like, it doesn't matter. That is the telltale sign that you are not tuned into real life. Like your mind is wherever, with the music, with the audiobook, with the podcast. Your mind is not present, which means that we can't have a present conversation. And
even if there's nothing on, even if there's nothing going through,
that is a telltale. Don't talk to me.
Yep. That is like, hey, I'm doing something. You're not important. Like, take them off and move along with your life.
Yeah. There was no argument. He was like, I understand your point. And I was like, you better understand that point, because then it's going to turn. But
to be fair, like the one thing, probably the only, I don't know, like I said, I'm a recovering addict here, like in a major way. I'm working towards like little things. Like there's been a lot of times where I went to Gianna's basketball game the other day. I left my phone in the car. Like there are things that like I have to tell myself, like sometimes even audibly out loud, like, Jordan, you're addicted.
Yeah.
Keep this in the car.
Just be present.
Yeah, be present, and it's okay. And like you get even like these little freak out moments where you're like, oh, what if I'm missing something? What if you're not that important? If it's truly a big deal, they will get a hold of you some way.
Yeah.
Like there's enough people in this world that are connected.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only. Maybe, well, there's two graces that I have. One is we are connected. I do like that. Like there is like that connection thing. And two, I know we kind of picked on the phone thing or the camera thing on the phone, but I do love the ability to take a picture whenever.
I do too.
That's huge.
Yeah, I do. I have so many pictures of just like the boys, and like I was just going through it not too long ago, like my old Snapchats of when they were little babies.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I tell myself when I buy my phone, I'm like if I upgrade or whatever, I'm like, you're buying a camera.
Yeah.
Is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, just keep that in mind. And I use my video on my phone all the time. Like, I record our congregational update videos on my phone. I record, like, tons of video that way. So there's a lot of times where it's like...
There's good and bad.
There's good and bad to
literally
both.
Everything. I mean, yeah. Do you have any other graces?
You first. It's weird that it's hard to come up with them.
It is.
With something that you carry around in your pocket all day long.
It like... I don't know. Like I don't have like a. It's turned into such a thing that isn't necessary. Like it's not necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't need to always be. And so because of that, like we've just lost, I think, a lot of bit of humanity. So I have a really hard time with like finding a grace. Now that I'm like actually thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know if there is a grace. Like
I get really concerned, and I've thought about this a long time, like, because this isn't like a new topic for me. I get really concerned when I have something that's available to me where if it were to leave, could I exist without it? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the dangerous part that we're playing in the current culture that we're in is, I think if you took somebody's cell phone away from them, like it would be like a death. It would be like I don't know how to function in this world, and that scares me a little bit that tech companies, cell phone companies have that kind of luring over us. Yeah. So there are people out there who are like working just to pay off their cell phone bills. Because it's that important to them. And I'm going like, wait a second, hold on. So now you have people who are like retired, for example, they work for insurance and their cell phone bill. Mm-hmm. And it's like, am I going to pay this for the rest of my life? Like, I don't know how I feel about being that in debt. But then in the same breath, like, what else are you going to do? Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to fire up your landline in your new house? Like, probably not.
Yeah. I can say I will appreciate, like, it's kind of like when we were talking about marriage, because there's the good and bad in the same thing. Because while I don't like that there's no connection, like being somebody who was in a long distance relationship for 4 years, like we didn't have Skype. We didn't have those things. And so now we have like FaceTime.
Right.
We have like the Facebook video and stuff like that, so that we can like, I can talk to my niece and nephew, they're only like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
So it's not like we don't see them regularly. But I mean, like, if we want to, we can just call them and be like, hey, how was your day at school?
Right.
And see their face, like,
Right,
and
right.
see them, because for the longest time that was not a thing.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that, being able to connect. But it's kind of like when I was watching, there was a documentary that was about social media, and like they were talking about how the things that are so negative in social media were not designed for the negative.
Sure.
Like the like button, the thumbs up button was not made to increase your dopamine level.
Right.
Like that was not the
It was just an
intent.
affirmation. It was a head nod.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, I like this. But it turned into like a dopamine hit for every single like that people get. And then they become addicted to, you know what I mean? So it's kind of in the same vein as that. Like cell phones, I don't think were necessarily created to be this like monster that it is.
We got what we got something we didn't expect. We created this because out of like convenience.
Yeah.
And then what happened was like it kind of the monster reeled its head and we're like, oh, we didn't anticipate that. Like for example, and this is really hard to sell people on because I know there's people out there, listeners included, who struggle with like anxiety and stuff like that. But I can make a strong case, especially like from reading and stuff like that, books, literature, make strong cases that like when you're off, you're a better person. You're nicer. You don't worry as much. Like stuff like that. Oh my goodness,
yes.
I mean, if you're not comparing, so this Same as Ever book, right? Like he goes into this a little bit and he talks about like how, so everybody loves the 1950s. Like no matter who you are, people look at it and they go, 1950s,
that was the best.
It was the best generation, right? He's like, the reason that the 1950s was the best generation was because everybody was in the same boat.
Yeah.
Everybody was struggling to financially. We just came out of war. You didn't mind wearing hand-me-downs because everybody wore hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Everybody's income pretty much all the same. They all made this. He's like, but if you look at the 1950s were horrible. He's like, they were absolutely terrible. There was things going on, like political oppression.
Is that what the Cuban Missile Crisis was?
You name it. I mean,
there was
like,
a lot of strife.
There's just so much stuff that was transpiring there. He's like, but why don't we like understand? Why do we miss that? When we say, oh, those were the good old days. He's like, they were because everybody was close, but then on the same breath, you couldn't see far. Yeah. So all you could see was like your neighborhood and everybody's houses looked the same and all this other stuff.
And your news source was one news source.
Right. So in like small town, for example.
News source.
Right. And in small town, what do? They don't promote the bad. They promote the good. Yeah. Jimmy got a hit and won the game on Friday night for the home team or whatever. Well, now like you have access to everything. So not only are you seeing people's highlight reels, but you're also seeing people's houses, how they live. We've talked about it on the show before, but reality TV, it sets a precedence where you're like, I need this, I have to have this, which builds anxiety.
Yeah.
If you can shut that down and you can get to the point where you say, you know what? Like, no, like I'm not going to compare myself. Like this is what, is needed. Then you get to the point where like you're actually mentally better.
Yeah.
Bethany and I are experiencing this right now with Gianna playing basketball. So we pack our dinner to go to basketball games. So it's not uncommon for us to be in the bleachers, say a prayer before we eat, open up a cooler and eat. Nobody else does it.
Nice.
We're the only people. We're the only people that do it because it's like right around dinner time. And then Gianna gets done playing. She comes, she gets her food, she goes and takes it. And she looks at me the other day and she's like, we're the only people that do that. I'm like, and? like who cares?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but nobody else does it. And I'm like, do you feel good that we're not eating at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night? She's like, yeah. I'm like, do you feel good that we're not eating at 4 o'clock at night? She's like, yeah. I'm like, so we're going to keep doing it.
Right.
Who cares? But we live in such a chameleon society, right?
Yeah.
Where you get to the point where you're like, oh, Johnny has a cell phone and he's connected and he watches this and does this and participates in this. I must have to do it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anxiety 101.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah, it just you never being able to like measure up, which is a whole other thing. Like that's a whole other ball game of a grease because like, yeah, you always have access to the bigger and the better and the best and
like there's people who are talking. It just happened today. Somebody came into my office. They're talking to me about like the news that's going on in foreign countries, and I'm like, or they were talking to me about like the current situation with our political thing that's transpiring in our nation. I'm like, how does that affect you today? Like, I'm not saying it doesn't, because it definitely does. And it does, like, there are repercussions and ramifications for that. But at the same time, like, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, you would have had to read that in the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And
it would have taken days to get to you.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much that would have happened before you even get that piece of information.
It's just wild to me because I'm like, and then you're worried.
Yeah.
About what?
Yeah.
You can't control that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that actually happened not too long ago. So, I kind of like got not caught up, but I was seeing so much because it was when I was in Austin, and I was seeing so much because I had downtime and like there was
things transpiring, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I just was like reading a lot, and then the people that I was with, they were kind of heightening that anxiety, and I was just like, whoa. And I like maybe 2 weeks ago, like had a moment where like I broke down and just started crying because I was like, this is too much.
Mm-hmm.
Stopped reading a lot of it.
Get out of it.
Like I'm much lighter. I'm still aware, but like I'm not allowing it to like consume me because like I can't.
Yeah.
There's not a ton that I can do.
Dude,
you know, like
it's a part of life. Like catastrophe happens,
yeah.
but it's very rare.
Yeah.
Like yes, people die. Yes, crisis hits, things like that. But it's very rare, and oftentimes it doesn't require your attention. Like it doesn't. You don't have to be involved in that. And if you want to be involved in that, then go be involved.
Be involved, but don't talk about it.
Right. So there's some people who are like, I can't believe this is transpiring. I'm like, if that is so near and dear to your heart, don't Monday quarterback that. Go do it.
Yeah.
Be a politician.
Go fix it.
Go be the change that you want to be. Like that's totally fine for me. But to sit there and to let it consume your life in such a way.
I can't believe this is happening.
Oh my word. I'm like, your mental state is being crushed and you don't even notice it. So that's a little frustrating there.
Yeah.
So
there's so much about
there
cell phones.
is.
I mean,
there is a lot.
There's so much about it that like I just want to grease. Just be present, guys. Like enjoy the moment. Like
which is probably why I love this so much because it is. It's like an hour out of the week where it's like the phones go down.
Yeah.
Like there is no. I mean, notifications are off. Things like that. Last night, so we do this thing at the end of every day called MR, which is muck reflection on like what's been going on, transpiring. And I've been starting to do this with other people now too. But like, tell me a story. Like, tell me something that happened today, like a story in your day. And I'm amazed at how many people like don't have stories in their day anymore. It's like I just did this, I just did this. Like, tell me something crazy that happened.
Yeah,
Like what transpired?
Yeah. I had somebody yesterday. It was great because it was the first time that anybody really had like asked me a birthday question. It was after my meeting and like nobody knew that it was my birthday. And so somebody had like then announced like, hey, it's Kim's birthday. And so there was one guy at the meeting and he was like, I've got 3 questions for anybody for their birthday. He goes, What did you learn in this past year?
Oh yeah, good one.
What was the best thing that you ate? And what is the one thing that you hope you never forget?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, those are good questions.
Those are really good
questions.
And
it took me back for a second because I haven't had to like it's not that I haven't had to reflect on them, but like to have somebody just like all of a sudden like bop bop bop, and I was like,
which is the reason for the gratitude journal, right?
Yeah,
like sit down. What are you thankful for? Like some of those things.
But I think I wouldn't have been able to answer it had I not been trying to be more intentional with my time to enjoy things. Like I've gone to a couple of concerts this past year. I don't have my phone with me.
That's fantastic.
I have it, but like it's just for like a couple of pictures. I'm not like
and then put it away.
Recording the whole entire thing on my phone and watching it. Watching the live event through the screen of your phone because you're recording is wild. Wild.
Grab a tripod. So I learned this a long time ago. For those of you who have kids, grab a tripod, put your phone up. If you really want to record it, put your phone on it, hit record.
But it's never going to be as good.
It won't, but hit record and put it over to the side. Like set it up, hit record, and then you make that mental picture in your head. Yeah.
Which is why like I don't take pictures because I never remember to take pictures because I'm trying to just enjoy the moment. When I die, I'm going to have these pictures. My grandkids are going to have these pictures, and there will be a point where somebody is going to be like, who are these people?
Yep.
The pictures are going to go away. But if I can experience that moment and just be in that moment, then that's what life is all about.
Yeah,
like
die with your memories.
Yeah, like have the memories. So like for spring break, we're going to Colorado. I probably will have like 6 pictures from the whole week.
Those will be 6 good ones.
Because like we just are in the moment. Like we're so anti phones. Like, just exist in the moment, guys.
Love it.
So,
all right, man. Well, we're out of time. Unfortunately, we covered a lot of ground today.
That was a good discussion today.
Mostly Greece, but we're good with that. So hey, life can be messy, but you know what? Even when there's Greece, grace can be found. So there's some pros there for sure. So just a little bit of some housekeeping items. We're actually going to say goodbye to our website.
We are.
So we're realizing that a lot of people aren't using it, and it's not needed. So,
but just our website.
Just our website. Yeah. So, one of the ways you can reach out to us is through social media, which is on our Facebook page. So, if you go there, that's fantastic. We love it. We love hearing from you guys. Possibility, still playing around and toying around with a possible Patreon page. I need to look into that a little bit more so that listeners like you can support podcasts like us.
That'd be cool.
Right
if
now,
you like us, I mean.
yeah,
I hope you do.
Right now, with some of our hosting, we're unable to do some ads just because our audience base is a little light.
We still growing. We tiny little bit.
That's all right. It's kind of like Kim's plants. Like, we're not going to kill it, but we're going to water it from time to time.
We're gonna really try to make sure that it thrives.
So here's what you can do for us, because we know a lot of you listen to this on Monday, and that's fantastic. Thank you so much for listening, all of you guys. Go ahead and hit the share button. You can share it on your social media, or maybe even drop it in a text message, or call somebody and say, hey, you know what? I listened to this podcast called Grease and Grace.
Yeah.
Kim's my favorite. I'll be okay with that. Whatever your favorite platform is, you can rate, you can comment on some of those platforms, you can subscribe, but sharing it with your friends and family is ideal. We would love to get this out more and more as the year continues to progress.
That'd be so fun.
If you have ideas for topics or anything like that, or questions, we would love to hear from you in regards to some of that stuff. You can reach out to us on greaseandgracepod@gmail.com. Before we leave, hit us up and let us know what cell phone you have. Like, are you an Apple or an Android user?
What phone did you start with?
Oh,
what was like your original?
Yeah. Did you have a bag phone in your car? Because some of you probably did.
My mom's first phone, she talks about the party line.
Oh, I remember those.
I don't know what a party line is.
I know what she's talking about.
She's told me, and I don't understand the concept.
Or were you one of the ones that was calling your boyfriend or girlfriend, and you had the cord that was running all the way through the living room? The
longest cord ever.
Laying on your bed, and then your mom picks up the phone. It's like, 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes. I
need you to get off the phone so I can get on the internet. Like, where in the world of phones did you enter?
And how many of you picked up the phone and heard?
That's internet.
So tell us your phone story. We want to hear it. Hey, maybe we'll even just put it on the podcast. But thanks for tuning in, you guys. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.
Later.
Peace.